Are you caught up in the drama triangle? We're talking about what does it look like and how to get out of it if you are in today's episode of Coffee with Tea. Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Tea. I'm your host, Tonia Tyler, and I'm excited because I have Mr. Gary Powell, who's going to be talking to us about the drama triangle. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Gary Powell. So welcome back, Mr. Powell.
Well, thank you for having me back. Apparently, I didn't scare too many of your viewers because, you did invite me back again. So thank you so much for that warm welcome and introduction.
Well, thank you. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, sir. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
Since the last time we've talked, how's everything going with you and your family and during this COVID-19? And I always give a shout out. I do got my coffee. So we are Coffee with Tea today.
I don't have mine this time. I actually drank my coffee earlier and but I have a bottle of water if that counts.
That counts. All
right.
We're good.
Awesome. We are actually doing surprisingly well during this time. I know that it is a difficult time for people, especially psychologically right now, in terms of social distancing, but that does not mean social isolation. And that's a big thing for a lot of people because we were designed to be in community. We weren't designed to live alone completely. So I know it's really difficult for some people. But we're doing very, very well, taking opportunities to connect with people in the ways that we can while still being safe. Obviously, things like this help a lot in terms of being able to see people, talk to people, interact. So it's not the same as having coffee at a coffee shop, but we'll take it for now.
Right. Yes. You know what? I'm thankful for Zoom. I put them on my gratitude list quite often.
Absolutely.
So
us extroverts, we would be dying a slow and painful death right now if it weren't outlets like Zoom and things like that to keep us connected.
Yes. So, Mr. Powell, we talked a little bit last time. This is how we came up with the drama triangle. So, really, What is this drama triangle you keep talking about? What is this?
All right. Well, it's one of the things, as a health and wellness coach, a lot of people, they see the physical transformation. And so they naturally assume that, okay, health coach means weight loss coach, which weight loss can be part of it. But a lot of what we really do is helping people with healthy mindset and getting their mindset correct. Because again, a healthy body is only temporary if the 6 inches between your ears isn't good. So we try to strive to help people become the dominant force in their lives and see the world as it's happening for me versus happening to me. And those are pretty much the two stances. There's not a lot of in between there. So as you're sitting there looking at your life, either you see it as it's happening to you, which means you have no control. You toss and turn with the waves, you're constantly reacting, versus life is happening for me, where I have control over some of these things, and you're more proactive. So that mindset shift changes a lot in the way that you perceive things, the way that you handle life, this current situation with COVID-19, your relationships, it affects everything. And one of the things that we really talk about with our clients is this whole idea of a drama triangle. Now, I'm going to preface this with, we're all human. We all have a natural tendency to fall below the line. And when I use the terms above and below the line, imagine just a line going horizontally across the page. Above, you're looking at qualities like you are open, you are curious, you have a growth mindset, you're seeking solutions, you're open to hearing other people's point of views, whether it's yours or not. That's above the line. Okay. Below the line are people who are closed, defensive. They want to be right. They want to blame someone for things. That's below the line. And we have the tendency to float above and below. It's fluid. The key is to know that and to be able to identify when you're below the line so that you can, as quickly as possible, bring yourself back up where solutions are actually possible. So in terms of the drama triangle, when you're below the line and life is happening to you, and you have no control, and you're pointing blame because, you know, we love that. Who's at fault?
Right.
Who's to blame? Who can I, as opposed to taking responsibility for ourselves and saying, you know what's our part in this, and what did we contribute to it? No, it's 100% their fault. That works. But the drama you fall into three roles, and again, they're fluid, and sometimes we fall into all three of these depending on the situation. We are either the victim. Again, it's being done to me, it's not fair, pointing the blame. Why me, God? Why me? The victim, you know. We have the villain, you know, that's the person that is at fault. That's the person that we're pointing the fingers at. It's like, I blame you, or I blame them, or even sometimes I blame myself. That's also the villain role. When you become your own villain, you're the victim and the villain at the same time. Or we fall into the hero role, which is, you know, I'm going to swoop in and I'm going to save the day. And I'm going to enable the victims because, again, I'm going to enable them by robbing them of the opportunity of solving the problem themselves and robbing them of the opportunity to grow personally and develop coping mechanisms, which, you know, as a child of the 80s, we saw a lot of that with, you know, we called them helicopter parents. And so now we're seeing people who don't have coping skills because mom and dad swooped in all the time and did it for them.
Right.
So the drama triangle is that play between the victim, the villain, and the hero, and how that plays out in any given situation. And sometimes, you know, we just get caught up in that. But when we become more self-aware, and we kind of become more enlightened and our emotional intelligence is higher, and we recognize that, oh, hold on, I'm you know, I'm having a certain feeling about something.
Right.
Fill in the blank with whatever hot topic is on Facebook right now.
Right.
I'm having a certain emotion about this particular topic.
Right.
Where am I falling? Because again, you feel, your body senses this. You feel it in your gut. Your skin starts to tingle. You get that rush of adrenaline. All those things start to happen. You know you're getting pulled into the drama triangle. Right. You can sense it. And if you're attuned to your body, you can feel it. And that's usually a warning call to say, hey, why, first of all, am I feeling emotionally charged by this? But being self-aware, you can say, okay, where am I falling into this? And I can stop, then challenge, and choose, which is we do this for our clients in terms of food, because a lot of us have food triggers, but it's also with emotional triggers and the way we react, and people who have explosive personalities and they lash out in anger all the time or whatever it happens to be. We can just do this simple practice of stop, challenge, choose, because we always have a choice in every situation. We have a choice. We can't necessarily control the event, but we can control our response to that event, which then ultimately affects the outcome of that event. So, you read something on Facebook, somebody says something opposing to what you currently believe, you start to feel an emotion. Okay, we're human. We have cortisol, we have adrenaline, we have chemicals that fire in our brains that wash through our bodies. But scientifically, that lasts about 90 seconds.
Right.
After 2 minutes, that chemical, that fight or flight response, that was, because we had to, a saber-toothed tiger was barreling down on us. We either had to defend our lives or run away. That's not the case. So we have these perceived dangers now, which is more, they're threatening my ego. They're threatening my stance in society. We feel threatened somehow by that. And that's the fake saber-toothed tiger that we've created for ourselves. But we have that same fight or flight instinct. And so we feel that emotion sweep through us. And that's when we start to go down below the line and into the drama triangle and point fingers and blame and become the victim or the villain because I'm going to get them back. But if we just take a second, one, to let the emotion pass through us, knowing that it's going to take 90 seconds to 2 minutes, get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, remove yourself physically from the table when your father-in-law says something that you want to, lash out at him. Do whatever you've got to do to give yourself that time so that then you can reflect and say, okay, I stopped. Now challenge yourself. Why am I feeling this way? Why did that trigger me so bad? where am I in this triangle, and why did this happen? And then make a choice, because by then the emotion has worn off, and we can make a rational choice based on how do we want the outcome to go. Do we want to get into a screaming match on Thanksgiving Day and everybody be ticked off until Christmas so we can repeat the process? Or do we want to keep the peace? Do we want to have a rational conversation? Do we want to accept the fact that I can't change them, but I can change me, whatever the outcome happens to be? And then you can make choices based on what you want that outcome to be. And that's a simple way to take yourself out of the drama triangle into the empowerment triangle, which is kind of the polar opposite of the drama triangle, where you get to be the creator or the coach or the challenger, which is a very different perspective. And again, the event didn't change.
Right.
My reaction to it changed, which changed the entire situation. So I get to be the creator. I get to create the story. And again, psychology, it's called the locus of control. So I took the locus of control. I'm the one calling the shots now. I'm not at the mercy of anyone else. I'm in control of my emotions. I get to control this situation. I get to create this. I'm in charge of what happens here.
So, Gary,
go ahead.
Before we dive into the locus of power, which I love how you're going there, because you gave us so many golden nuggets, and I want to say
lots of things.
If you're enjoying what Gary is dropping down and you're loving it, give us a thumbs up and put a comment in there and let us know that you're loving it. So before we dive more into the locus, so am I understanding right? The drama triangle is below the line, right?
Yes, so you are dropping below the line.
Below the line. So when we identify that, that's when we're choosing to say, you know what, I'm not going to stay in this state, and we're going to take it back up. We're taking ourselves back up, and then that's where we're going to go into more about this. You said the locus of power.
The empowerment triangle, yes. The empowerment triangle.
Yes. So I wanted to hear more about that, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands that if you, the drama triangle is not a great thing to be in.
Oh, no. And a lot of us,
you can't
absolutely.
Be there.
Oh, no, we do it. We're human, and we do it. And even the most experienced people fall below the line and get dragged into the drama triangle. It happens. Again, it's a matter of giving yourself grace, and there's nothing wrong with finding yourself there. The problem becomes when you choose to stay there. That's the issue.
Okay.
So once you become aware, I'm there. It's like, okay, you have an awakening, you have an epiphany, you have a moment, and then you're like, okay, I can't stay here. I need to go above. And that takes practice, because let's face it, we have decades of building a habit of being the victim, or decades of the habit of becoming the hero. That was me. I was the hero. I was going to come in and swoop in. I was going to ride in on my white horse, saving the damsel in distress. Until I realized that what that really does, it cripples the person emotionally, psychologically, because again, I mean, I could swoop in and I can, because I have 4 children, I could swoop in and I could solve that problem with my daughter who has a kid at school who's not being very nice to her. And I could swoop in and I could call that school and I could call that parent. And I could be the hero and I could save the day. But in the end, what did that do for her? Other than put a temporary Band-Aid, because that kid's not going to stop. And when there's going to be another kid. There's going to be another kid. And eventually it's going to turn into a coworker and a boss, or a spouse, or an in-law. There are going to be these people in their lives that they've never learned how to deal with.
Right.
So again, I emotionally or psychologically or behaviorally just crippled them, because now they're not going to have the skills later down the road to learn how to stand up for themselves.
Right.
And how to put a stop, and how not to let people treat them that way, and how to end a relationship sooner rather than later that can't be fixed, and things like that. So it becomes more of that's why being the hero is not a good thing, and is part of that drama triangle and below the line. Because a lot of people are like, but you're saving people or you're helping them out. No, you're self-serving because it gives you something, but it actually hurts them in the long run. So
I think that's something I think maybe we might have glazed off if we didn't really stop. I said, to be those three, that doesn't necessarily mean that's a good thing. And I'm glad you emphasized that point. So yes, thank you for clarifying that
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, the locus of control, again, that's a psychological term of basically, are you in control, or is someone or something outside of you in control? So when you take the locus of control back, you're now controlling the ship. You get to make the choices. You call the shots, which does mean you have a higher level of responsibility for what's going on in that moment. I mean, you have to take, sometimes it takes radical ownership for you. But again, it goes back down to, if you take radical ownership, legitimately, it may not be your fault that your business is falling apart, but until you take ownership of it and say, it is my fault, you don't have control over it. You can blame your employees. You can blame your customers. You can blame your clients. You can blame your bank. You can blame whatever. But as long as you're blaming other people, it's their fault, you can't fix that.
Right.
But as soon as you flip that script a little bit and say, you know what, whether it's my fault or not, it's my fault. I'm going to take ownership of this. You now take that locus of control, because if I got myself into this, by God, I can get myself back out.
Right, right.
And so you have that power. And that's, and that actually, again, you go above the line, you pull yourself above the line, you practice that skill, you get better at it over time, and you do it quicker and more automatic, to where that's sort of your general mode of operation, is eventually you're living most of the time above the line.
Right.
And like I said, you get to go into the empowerment triangle, which, again, you get to be the creator, the coach, or the challenger in that situation. So again, as I was saying before, the creator is, you tip control. You're in charge of what happens. You get to create your new story. This thing in the past doesn't get to define you anymore. You get to put a period at the end of that sentence, turn the page, start a new chapter, if you go into creation versus victim. You get to be the coach, so you get to help other people get better. You get to empower other people to be successful versus being the hero. Again, I can go and I can coach my daughter on how to deal with that difficult person. I can coach her on how to not allow people to treat her that way, but I'm empowering her instead of doing it for her. I get to become that coach to help them out. For me specifically, I'm not walking around behind my clients smacking cookies out of their hands. I get to empower them to make better choices with their food to reach their health goals. So you get, instead of the hero, you get to become the coach. And then of course you get to be the challenger instead of the villain. Because again, you're the villain, you're the bad guy, you're the person who's causing problems. You get to be the challenger who's open and curious to learn, and that realizes that the obstacle that you're currently facing is actually there to help you grow and get better. We have a huge a saying that we use a lot, is the obstacle is the way. That big mountain that's in front of you that you think it's impossible, that's there specifically to grow you into the person that you need to become to live that life that you're going after. Because again, if you were already that person, you'd be living that life. You're not that person yet. You're going to have to overcome some obstacles. You're going to have to climb some mountains. You're going to have to destroy some self-limiting beliefs. You're going to have to heal and repair some things in your past in order to grow to become that person that you want to be. And that's what the challenger gets to do in that situation, instead of being the villain.
Right. So I know we're down to the last 3 minutes, and I just want to wrap up a little bit, because like I said, you dropped a lot of nuggets.
There's a lot there. I'm sorry, there's a lot.
No, don't apologize, because like I said, we're just on the tip of the iceberg. So basically, it's here, because you dropped a nugget on there. I just wanted to reinforce that this COVID-19 could be your obstacle if you really wanted to, because it can shape you into something that you never thought you could be. I'm just saying, this is an opportunity moment.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a point in history that hasn't happened for a century. This may not happen again for another 100 years. This may be your moment to rise to the occasion and become that person that you've been called to be. And this may be the exact thing that's going to shake up your world and get you out of your comfort zone and force you to actually develop the grit, the determination, the stick-to-itiveness the creativity, all those things, in order to grow into the person that you need to be in order to be the example or the boss or the leader or the fill in the blank of whatever it is that you're wanting to become.
Right. Again, you gave us a ton of nuggets. And where can people follow up with if they want to know more about what you do, your services, and where they can find
my goodness. All right. So let's see. I'm on social media. You can follow me on Facebook. I think I have a few spots left for friends if you want to, but I'm getting close. So find me on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram at the Gary Powell _ Gary _ Powell. I have a YouTube channel, so you can always go to that. I'm sure Tonia, you'll pop that information in as well. Or you can check me out on my website, which is relentlesshealth365.com.
All right. Well, again, I want to say thank you for being here. You shared a wealth of knowledge. And I also want to say I really do appreciate it. And I would love to have you come back on. We can extend this conversation.
Oh, wow. We could talk for a really long time about a lot of stuff. Because again, people's journey to health there's no one entry point and there's no final destination that's the same. So there's a lot of area we can cover.
Right. And also I want to thank everybody who tuned in for watching this episode. Feedback is always welcome. Email us if you have any guest or show ideas. And of course, I'm going to have all of Gary's links posted in the comments so you can follow up with him. Thank you for watching us. And if you like this video, like I said, give us a thumbs up and please leave us a comment in the comments below. And if you're enjoying the insight and the wisdom that you're getting from everybody that's coming on, like Gary and stuff, please hit the subscribe button for more information. And remember, last thing but never least, take things in stride, go with the flow, and create your own path. And again, we'll see you back here on another episode of Coffee with Tea. Share with us, what was one of your takeaways from today's show? Post your answers in the comments.